Hello, everyone. My name is Rudrani. I hope you are safe, healthy, and so is your family. Today, I'll be chatting with a very inspiring woman. Of course, she is Liva, Miss Diva, Universe 2020, Adeline Castellino. I am so glad we are doing this, Adeline.
Thank you so much, and thank you for such a warm welcome. It's indeed been a very different experience. We're doing this over Zoom, but I'm really grateful for it.
Some has been very, very bad. But how have you been? How has your journey built in now, especially during this pandemic, about your health?
Well, it's been challenging. I'll be really honest about that. But every day, I think you just look forward for the day. You don't think about the future or the past. You just think, how am I going to get through this day? And you try counting your blessings, what's been given to you, especially. That's what I'm going through. And recently, because I've tested positive for COVID in the past week, and then it's been a journey. It's been somewhere where you have to motivate yourself. You have to look past the obstacles and really push yourself to do that, and always look around and find something positive to kind of motivate yourself and others. I think that's what I've learned in this entire journey.
You've been through your own set of issues and you've overcome your struggles to be where you are today, and you're representing us soon in Miss Universe 2020, and that's going to be held in Florida in USA. But the journey till here was not, like they say, smooth, right? You've been through your own set of emotional traumas, and you've reached here. Tell me about it. Tell me, so that everybody else who hears, who feels that you have to be so perfect to be where you are, I feel they have hope.
I think even growing up, even I had the same perception that you need to be perfect. And well, I was born and raised in Kuwait, as you said. So the community over there is very conservative. We had a very comfortable life, but it was very conservative. You didn't have many opportunities or people to look up to, especially if you're a girl. And at that time, I remember one of my classmates introducing Miss Universe to me. She would come to me and say that, "You're my Miss Universe." And that was the first time I heard about it. And I was thinking, what's this Miss Universe? So I went back home, and at that time we had very limited connection to internet. And then after I went in, I Googled what is Miss Universe. And that's the journey that I saw. I saw these amazing women on stage who were so confident about themselves and the way they would walk and talk. And that was very inspiring for me because I had a speech defect. I couldn't speak that well. I would always stammer, I would have a lisp, and people would make fun of that. So I would prefer not speaking. And the second thing is that because we were in the Kuwait and we would travel back to India to and fro sometimes. So we used to get mosquito bites, because we're not used to that. And there were a lot of marks on my body. So I would look at myself, and even with my color, I would look at myself and I would say that, maybe it's not meant for me. Maybe it's meant for, there are these other women out there in the world that are so beautiful and so glamorous, and it's maybe meant for them. It's a world for them. But as I was growing up, when I saw these women, I what I realized that each and every one of them, they were very confident in themselves and what they were. And that really inspired me to do the same for myself. And for once, I stopped looking at what I didn't have, and I started focusing on what I want. What is the type of life I want? What kind of opportunities I want for myself? And as you said, when I came to know about my grandmother, for the longest time, I never knew her name or how she looked like. I remember running to every relative and just asking, okay, just tell me how she looked like. Did she look like me? Did she, how did she sound like? And nobody really had answers to those questions. And it really hurt me, because I've been a very ambitious girl all my life. So I cannot imagine that my grandmother would lose her life at 22. At such at such an early age where she could have achieved so much more, and nobody remembers her today. So that was the reason I always had a fire in my belly that I have to do something with my life. I have to bring some kind of meaning to it, and live the best life that I could. So that really me. And when I was 15, I didn't even know what I was going to do, what I was going to come to Bombay and do. I had nobody in Bombay, not a relative, not a friend, and I had no plan. Like no plan A, plan B. I just knew, I had an intuition that I need to come here and things will happen. And I don't have that now, but as a 15-year-old, I did come to Bombay. I really never thought that I would overcome a speech defect, because I would try to find for people who had a lisp and who overcame it. But I never got anybody like that. And so I decided that if I didn't have role models, then I would make a role model of myself. So luckily, we are from a generation where we could, we can go to YouTube, we can go to over the internet and really learn from there. So that's what I started doing. I started exercising, doing my mouth exercises and whatever tongue twisters that they have, so I could get over this entire. And I remember when I was participating for the national competition, a lot of people would call me and say that, you know what, Adeline, I think you should not participate this year. You really need to work on your lisp. You really need to work, in the way you speak. For some reason at that time, I don't know, I just blocked everybody. I said, let's do this. Whatever I have and whatever God has given me, I'm going to make full use of that. And I think that's what happened. It was just this unwavering belief that is going to happen. And it just did. So I aspire to take the same belief to Miss Universe and make my country really proud, because during this whole journey, I've realized that all of our dreams and aspirations as the youth of India is the same. And no matter where we come from, whether, we don't talk much about the Northeast, we don't talk about the South regions, just to unite the people. Our country is so beautiful, we don't even have a clue about our diversity and how much value it adds to a country. It's like a world in one country. So I feel that that's what I want to really showcase about India. And at this moment, something that I heard about, something that I read about India, our biggest contribution to the world is ahimsa. And ahimsa is not only just non-violence, it's the belief that we all, regardless of everything, are one. This unconditional belief and love belonging to something that's one. So I think that's what I would want to share with the world about India, and also help people in India remember this fact and remember this unity that on which our nation was founded.
Adeline, has the bullying that you faced, and also looking at the impossible standards of beauty that is put forward for women in media, in films, and in the fashion world, in the beauty world, affect you? Did the bullying take a toll on your morale, on your self-confidence? How did you gain it back? Because I think a lot of people really get affected by that.
When you're a young child, or even when you're in your teens, it's very easy to get bullied and to be, because you're unique, or you have a different trait, people get around you. But it's very important to give that kind of strength to our kids, to our young generation, that it's okay to be unique, it's okay to be different, and to embrace the diversity we have. Because we are always taught from even a very, very young age that in case something is different, you need to not like it. You need to kind of oust it. So I think it's very important for us to teach children from a very young age to embrace diversity and to stop sticking in a box, because human beings were never meant to be in a box.
Yeah.
We are supposed to exist in different forms and kinds. And I think that our society needs to build that system where children, like from a very young age, can enjoy that, and they don't start developing this bullying personalities, because they learn it from home. So if parents are very mindful of the way they're bringing up their children and not bullying their children, and showcasing that kind of behavior in front of them, that will not be repeated in schools. While talking about beauty standards, which is the topic that's going around today, because it makes a lot of sense. Even as a young child, I remember looking at my skin, and I think every young child in India, regardless of your gender, has seen the Fair and Lovely ad, and even has seen like how you become beautiful in 7 days, and because you become fairer. I think this is ingrained in our subconscious, and even if we have developed and we've grown up, it's somewhere there. We really need to work on outing that what's taught to us and what's ingrained into our subconscious. It's very important. So as a young child, I would look at myself and the color, and I would also bully myself. You don't realize, but you also put, keep these expectations around you. Okay, so this looks nice, this doesn't. I think we need to stop there. And usually as a young girl, you don't really understand how the advertising industry works and how beauty really works. There's a lot that goes into making somebody look beautiful, presentable. So for children, to make them realize these facts, in in a school or wherever they're studying, that this is not the reality. This is something that's a product of a lot of process and a team that goes behind it. It's very important. Otherwise, women and girls especially put themselves against such wrong standards of beauty. It's just not fair. And I want to say, why, when it comes to women, why do we always talk about beauty? It's like it's the only thing that we are supposed to have, like as if intelligence precludes beauty. You can either be beautiful or you can be intelligent. You cannot be both. As a young girl, I always wanted my relatives to talk about something more than beauty. I wanted them, even my friends, my society, to talk about, oh, how intelligent you are, and how amazing your grades are, and your future is going to be bright. These are the things that I would want to listen. When as a woman, you'll be hearing a lot of compliments from the other gender about your looks and about the way you look, but you have absolutely no merit in it. It's all because of your family members, your genes, etc., etc. So when men really compliment women about their intelligence and what value they bring to the table, it's really nice to listen, and it also will change the perspective that society has towards women. That she's only there for the beauty, for the aesthetic of it, and to just nurture and care. That's it. So I think that to change that dynamics in the society is important right now. When I was just newly crowned, okay, I was getting used to the Miss India life. I remember we had a Women's Day event where we went to see some young girls, and all the previous winners, they were there, they were seated, and they were all sitting. And then after some girls came around me, and because I was not in my crown and all that, I just walked in at that time. So they looked at me and they said, are you also a Miss India? I said, yes, I am a Miss India. So they said, well, you don't look like them. And at that moment, I felt bad, to be honest. I was like, okay, I'm not glamorous enough for them to see that I'm a Miss India. Maybe I'm not beautiful enough. So then after, what they said next really touched my heart. They said that, you know what, you look like us. And at that moment, I realized there is no compliment or no appreciation that you could get if you, more than somebody relating to you, looking at themselves in you. So at that moment I was so happy. She said that, you know what, you look like me, so does that mean that even I can be a Miss India? And I said, absolutely, you can be a Miss India. Why not? And that was something that really opened my perspectives into beauty and what we try to look at, and the ideals of beauty that we set, even in the beauty industry.
You're working with Sneha very closely to make sure that PCOS free happens here. And then, of course, like I said, you're extremely, extremely passionate about making sure that it becomes affordable healthcare, especially for women. I'm sure you want it to happen for everybody. Right now, looking at the condition that we are in, where we are overburdened, the hospitals and doctors and the medical professionals are every day putting out helps of cry about the fact that there's oxygen deficiency, there is no oxygen, medicines are not available. Looking at the crumbling system right now, how have you been dealing with it?
What has happened is very unfortunate. It's a very catastrophic event that has happened with our health industry. But I would like to look at it as a big learning for us as a society, and even for people in control, people who are leaders in our society. It's very important for them to learn that health industries need to be more proactive, not reactive to the situation, but proactive. They need to now make sure, because this is one incident, but there is no guarantee in the future that there are going to be multiple incidents like this, multiple viruses that will break out, pandemics that will come. So it's very important for them to be completely ready at all times, just like we have a defense system right in India to tackle war. So it's very important that we even health is a very important part of a society. So for them to recognize that and to be very proactive is important, that it becomes a major issue. And I can just imagine right now there will be so many women that would desperately need medical health care at this moment, but might not be able to get it. And most of them come from impoverished backgrounds and no access to equitable, dignified healthcare. So it's actually a matter of grave concern. It was 1969 when my grandmother died giving birth to my mother. It's been so many years since then. I'm the next generation. She died when she was 22 years old, and now I'm 22 years old. And the condition in the country has not progressed as much. So this really tells us that even if we have come so far in terms in different aspects in related to women, this is something that we are lacking behind, and we need to make sure that we work on it and we help. We kind of raise our voices and support causes that really help women get these equitable healthcare, not only for women that have power and that have position in society, but for every woman, for a woman working in a field, for a woman working in a factory. It's very important.
It's wonderful that you've taken your responsibility to be the voice for so many causes. You feel very deeply also about the farmers and their rights. How are you affected when you saw the protests that continue to happen from the farmers, which the protest for repealing the farm laws that were suggested by the central government? How did you look at the entire situation? Because you have been advocating rights for farmers.
So when we had this opportunity to speak about what we are passionate about, or a cause that we really stand for, and at that moment, because of when I witnessed the entire region of Maharashtra and the way the farmers were suffering, I went family after family. It was like house after house. And many of them had lost their fathers to suicides. Their fathers were farmers, and now the children didn't even have a formal education. They were out of school. And I felt so bad because India is an agricultural society. Everything that we have comes from agriculture. And for them to be in such a sad state, it wasn't fair. And when I was speaking about farmers, and I just really wanted to increase awareness about them, because I think when you start the dialogue, that's when people start talking, and that's when solutions come up and people are aware, they want to make that change. So that was very important for me. But I had no clue that 8 months down the line this would have happened, and massive protests would happen with the farmers, because now that really shows that the farmers are tired of this. Many farmers in different parts of the country, they want now their needs to be heard by the public. They want them to know the struggles that they're going through. I can completely understand that. And what I really want people to understand is not to pick sides, because it's very important. It's very easy for us today to pick a side. Okay, we support this and we support that, but really as citizens, we need to help them unite together. Because at the end of the day, when a farmer suffers, the whole country suffers. He can't produce the food. And we have such an enormous population that needs to be fed. So I think it's very important to connect the farmer to the government and to make sure that whatever policies that come, it has to benefit our society. It has to benefit the farmer and take it forward. I feel people should focus on that and not on saying which party, because you shouldn't politicize it. This is what I feel. And I feel really bad that our farmers still are undergoing, they're protesting, they want to be heard. So even if it's a COVID situation right now, which is very deadly, they're still protesting. I really hope that the situation become better and, they have a dialogue where they can sort out the differences, or at least for now, make some progress in our directions. Very important for us, even as a country.
You'll be representing us one of the biggest beauty pageants that we have in amidst a pandemic. You are right now prepping to go forward to represent India globally, which is huge in Miss Universe pageant, right? But there's so much happening around you. How have you been dealing with that, and also sort of readying yourself for bracing yourself for what is ahead?
When I got crowned and when we started our whole journey, nobody thought that we'd just enter into lockdown the next month. It's not been the most ideal pageant journey, but it has taught me a lot. What I've not learned in the last 20 years of my life, I've learned in 1 year. And that is that sometimes all your plans can go, all your to-do list can go out the window, but you need to still persist and move ahead. So it's just taught me to be much more resilient. And I've learned a lot of other skills also, because I was never a technologically advanced person. It really took me time to understand how to work with Zoom and how to use it to learn something. So that was very challenging, but I'm glad that I've got that. And always having a positive outlook in life, no matter what, because what I've really realized in this entire journey is that there is something called innate freedom. The world around you can be falling apart, but you still have the freedom to choose to be peaceful or to fall apart with it. So that is the most important lesson that I've learned, because the day I realized that even I was infected with COVID and I was not well, I till that moment I said, okay, there are a lot of problems, there are a lot of issues, but it's okay. It is, my health is fine. So when I realized that I was also infected by COVID, I said, this is it. It cannot get worse than this. I'm just preparing, and suddenly I have this whole lag. And then I realized that no, you have to trust the divine timing. You need to also realize that so much is given to you. If you just look outside and you see how people are suffering, how things are happening, you have much more gratefulness for things that are given to you, and you become responsible that you have something and a duty to give back to the society, especially as the youth of India. It's our time right now. It's our time right now to realize that we are the leaders of our community. We are the leaders of a society. And it's amazing to see the young population out there on Instagram, sharing information, helping each other, whether it's cylinders, plasma, any kind of donations to help each other. This has been the most inspiring event in my life, to see that even when the entire system was crumbling, people were coming together, because at the end of it, it's all about the people. They're coming together to support each other. So that's given me the strength that no matter what happens, life will go on, and until you have people around you, you have to support each other and move ahead. So always move ahead, always persist. And right now, with a lot of countries closing their borders in on India, it's something that I was thinking about. Okay, what's going to happen? Are they going to close it on? Is US going to close their borders on India? But I think I don't really now focus much on that, because whatever has to happen will happen. I will still work and do my best to represent India at Miss Universe, and keep that positivity and keep that hope always on.
That's wonderful. Can you tell the people who want to help you in whatever way they can, how do they support our own Liva Miss Diva 2020, so that you go out there, represent us in the best way that we can, and how do they support from home, from their houses?
Hi, my lovely people. I need you to support me on my journey of representing our beautiful, incredible country, India. And during these challenging times, to actually bring it a lot of happiness and peace, I need you to download the Miss Universe app and vote for me on that. Because once you vote, I'll be entering the top 21 of the competition. That's very important. We have really prepared a lot, and there's so much that the world needs to see about India. So I need you.
There you go, everybody. You heard her. She's a wonderful person. If you heard the conversation, you know why we are so proud that she's representing us. So go do your bit. Of course, I know you're going to continue with your causes and everything, but are you really, hoping to get into films, or is that something that you've never really thought about and you don't really want to?
Such a sweetheart. The way you ask questions is so sweet. Well, I've never really thought about it till now. I've always been focused about Miss Universe and really representing the country. And also with my work, I've always aspired to be somebody who's out there in the society and who has her own business. I've always been excited to do something like that, start my own venture. But it really, I am somebody who's adventurous, and I don't mind trying new adventures in life. So I would never be not for it. I would always welcome any kind of opportunity.
Thank you so much, Adeline. I really hope you take care of yourself.
So sweet. You've been a sweetheart. It's really been a pleasure being here talking to you. You're a very humble, nice person.
I think you're going to be amazing. We are here cheering for you. All the very best, Adeline. Lots of love.
Thank you so much. Lots of love to everyone that's watching. Thank you for your support and all the love that you've showered me throughout this year. And it's very important that you be a part of this journey as it's going to its end. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye, Adeline. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.